if you've clicked on this video, if you give me 30 seconds, I'm going to give you a probable cause to change your life. Okay? So just bear with me for the first 30. I want you to try to visualize yourself as a child, specifically when you were last at the beach as a child. And most of you would have done this. You would have had a bucket and a small spade, and you would have attempted to build a sandcastle at the beach, at least once or twice, don't lie to me. I want you to visualize you on the beach building that sandcastle. Just feel the bliss of that moment. Feel what it was like to have no pressure, build exactly what you want, and just create. Let your heart and your mind be completely free and just immerse yourself in building that sandcastle. Do you see how it felt easy? When was the last time that you completely melted away into the work that you wanted to be doing? That's the topic of today's video, joy. Now, I bring this up because I want to make it really, really clear that if it is you versus someone else in a race or in a competition, if you're doing it out of the sake of competition to win, and the other person is doing that thing, whatever it may be, it could be tennis, it could be chess, it could be trading, it could be gardening, whatever this competition involves, if the other person is doing it out of a space of joy, I promise you every single time that you will be beat. Because when you want to rest, when you want to recover, that person is taking rest and recovery out of that flow state that they're bringing about themselves in doing the exact same thing that you are doing out of sport. Where they feel joy, you feel tension, you feel grit, you feel like you have something to prove. Separate topic for another video, but that's closer in alignment with lack. But why I bring this up is because if you look at all the names of people who have carved a new vein in their industry in such a way that they have stamped their name on that industry forever. For example, think of e-commerce and think of Jeff Bezos. Think of computers. Think of Steve Jobs, right? Think of Musk and electric cars, or Musk and private space travel. These figureheads did what they did out of joy. They did what they did because when the vision came to their mind, they didn't think twice. They acted upon it, and they found more fulfillment in pursuing that vision than anything else. Usain Bolt, when he was a kid, used to race his friends in high school for lunch. They would barter lunch boxes and barter juice boxes and sandwiches, and if he beat his friends in a race, he got their food, right? He got joy out of the thrill of effectively taking his friend's food. We'll try to remove any sadistic aspect from it, but when I started to look at trading, look at markets, look at crypto like a game, like this infinite PvP match where people are always trying to gather the most data possible to make the best and most informed decisions possible, aka alpha, right? Your edge, how you're beating the market. It brought me so much relief because it became a game to me. It became engaging, it became interesting. I did every bit of research, every bit of learning how to code, every bit of backtesting and, understanding all these random fields in physics and computer science and people and psychology, merging all these things together to understand how to be a better trader, to trade markets more effectively. I did from a place of joy. I did it because I loved it. I fell in love with the process of getting better at it, of mastery. I promise you, if you're watching this video, you will not get more passion out of an hour's worth of trading or refining your trading skills than me. That's okay. I'm not here to be in competition with you. But Naval put it really well in Chris Williamson's most recent podcast, in that you can beat everyone by being your own niche. Because number one, the work stops becoming work. It starts feeling like play. And then that becomes your edge. That becomes your unique selling point. That's what makes you the most valuable. You will only ever be the most valuable when you're in a state of joy. There's a quote by Paramahamsa Yogananda, who we can widely attribute to bringing yoga from the East to the West in the 20th century, and who was a major inspiration for Steve Jobs in creating Apple, which he wrote in his book, which was that, I'm paraphrasing slightly, but doing what is right in life comes from a space of joy. Joy is everything. Now, I find this so interesting because joy is a righteous way of living. Usually your emotions are the best barometer or the best gauge or the best instrument that you have to determine if what you're doing is in alignment for your path. And obviously I want to make a distinction between emotions of hedonism that feel much more like you're riding highs and you're coming off lows, and more from a place of strength and momentum and fulfillment. That which puts you in a flow state where time just melts away, where you don't feel necessarily pressure, rather you feel encouraged by the goal. That is flow, and that is true joy, because you have truly found purpose in the moment. You have found, through your craft, through bettering yourself in a certain aspect, becoming more learned in a certain aspect, becoming more skilled, more graceful, more poised in whatever it is that you are attempting to do. You make it your own meditation. You make it your joy. For example, with me, for most of 2024, I just spent refining my craft. I leveraged large language models when I had not a clue in the world about coding to build apps on the blockchain to make me money out of thin air, seemingly. And I now have people in a paid community that pay me and take value, take interest, take time out of their day to hear my insights on the crypto markets, because they know that I can make money. I can then thereby, with a high level of probability, make them money. And consequently, it's a value loop. They find what I do valuable. And it came from a space of joy. Steve Jobs would often say, why I mention Steve Jobs again is because Paramahamsa Yogananda was Steve Jobs's self-proclaimed guru. And even at Steve Jobs's funeral, the 500 people that attended all got given a copy of Autobiography of a Yogi. So if you haven't read that book, I highly, highly implore you to pick up a copy. Steve Jobs said that creativity is simply the act of putting things together, drawing pieces together in your mind in such a way that other people might not immediately be able to perceive or see the way you do. That is creative. When I bridge together all these different aspects of science and maths and probability and psychology together to make my own like machine learning models that I now use to trade with, and now that I give for free to members of my community, I did that out of a space of joy. I presented these machine learning models to my cohort in a student-managed fund at my university, and there was two types of people. There would be the type of people that were really inspired with what I did, and the types of people who would immediately go to, how is this relevant? Why does this matter? This has come from such left field. But it's because they didn't align with what brought me joy, and that's okay. But for me, it was more of a presentation in demonstrating what is possible when you go and you do on your own thing, which was, at the time very sort of frowned upon, or, looked ill upon, because it went against, the traditional curriculum of that course, which was fine. I didn't ultimately care. I got distinctions and high distinctions in that course anyway. But again, the point I'm trying to make is that people will find your niche, your creations, the most intriguing and the most valuable when they can tell that it's been created from a place of fulfillment and from a place of joy. Yeah, that was just something that I wanted to get off my chest. If you want me to teach you how to trade, hit up the email in the description down below. If you haven't seen my other 2 videos, the first one was regarding how breathwork made me 200K in crypto, and the second one was about how detaching from the outcomes and focusing on your work and on your purpose will ultimately be the most efficient way of reaching your goals, as backwards as it sounds. I wish everyone an amazing day, and I want you to remember that that which you want wants you even more. Take care. Mwah.